Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News with Kim and Lisa. With the season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills over, Bravo Breaking News is entering a new era, one we have never ventured into before. So, just like that intro shot from season 1, we are traveling over the hills and into the valley to cover season 2 of The Valley. Lisa, are you ready for this?
I am so ready. We asked you guys last week, and it was pretty loud and clear that everyone wanted to hear more about the valleys. So here we are. We're going to mention it all. We're only 2 episodes in, and I can tell like we have a season on our hands. But I also have to say that we're seeing a lot of very dark stuff going on here, especially with the second episode. It was it was quite deep and quite emotional. And, just hearing Brittany exposing the truth about Jax's addiction, with which we've all known about, but like it's never really been talked about. Then we're seeing Jesse and Michelle, like those two. I don't know which couple's more toxic. We've got Janet, who just loves to stir the pot, Kristen, Luke, like everyone's getting into the mix, and I'm happy. I'm happy.
I'm happy to, like I said before, it's definitely filling the void that Vanderpump Rules left. So let's get into it. As always, there's so much going on. I've got some tea to share and some unpopular opinions, of course, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, guys, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Valley recaps to come.
Okay, so open with what else? Casseroles, breakfast casseroles. And I just have to say, I love Jasmine saying like casseroles is some white people shit. Like I always laugh when we hear something like that's white people stuff. Because
Yeah,
it's so true.
I mean, it definitely gives Vicky Gumbelson vibes, like
Yeah.
loves a casserole.
Who's leaving me a casserole on my doorstep? Okay, so it's Jasmine and and wait, who else was there? Brittany talking about the Kristen conversation at the white party. And it did not go well. Like Janet, I think, was expecting Kristen to apologize, and it just didn't really happen. Like Janet apologized, but Kristen didn't like the way she apologized. I don't know. This is a big mess. I think that at the end of the day, Kristen and Janet are going to be able to move past it, but like Janet's still really hard, and she says it really affected the end of her pregnancy. Like it was in her head, like, is my baby not going to come to full term? Why would someone wish that upon me? And I just want to back up for a second. I don't think that Luke was saying, I wish your baby doesn't come to full term and you don't have a healthy pregnancy. I think in the moment, they were saying to him, like, look, extra stress can like be really dangerous for a pregnant woman. And I think he was just like, I don't care. Meaning, I don't care that she is also pregnant. Like, that doesn't give her, free reign to kind of do and say whatever she wants. I did not take it as, I don't care if her baby doesn't come to full term. But maybe I'm in the minority here. Where are you with this?
Oh my God. Lisa, I cannot stand Janet. And I think that nothing could be said for me to change that. Zach did not mean that whatsoever. And Janet is just weaponizing her pregnancy to play the victim. We've seen housewives pregnant, we've seen other reality stars pregnant. Don't try to make it just because somebody wants to call you out on your shit that all of a sudden, oh, you don't want my pregnancy to go full term. I'm sorry, that is complete bullshit. Janet is blowing this out of proportion. I cannot stand Janet. I agree with Zach. She's like roping Brittany into this. She's like brainwashing Brittany to kind of like be her friend. I don't know. Do you know the lore behind Janet and her like fan to reality TV star pipeline?
Sort of. And by the way, I think I kept calling Zach Luke, so sorry about that. But tell me more.
Same. So, okay, of course we saw in the trailer that Kristen, calls Janet a fan. Well, that is actually true because what is going around online? So, Janet, I guess, is from Ohio. She was a very, very big fan of Vanderpump Rules. She moves to LA and somehow like meets the cast, is hanging around the restaurants, starts hanging out with the cast, kind of gets cozy with Sheena, becomes Sheena's co-host on her podcast, and kind of has like infiltrated this group from starting out as a fan. And obviously that's kind of like almost every fan's dream to like become one of them and become part of the friend circle. But I don't know, it's definitely giving a little bit of like single white female vibes. Like I guess she was married before and she like moved to LA and divorced her ex to like live this LA lifestyle with the Pump Rules cast. Allegedly she did teach us
a sign.
Yes, holding up the sign, allegedly. But she's kind of infiltrated this group from being a fan, inserted herself into the drama and the storylines and the friend group. And it just does not sit right with me. She is like, stirring the pot, but not in an authentic way. She's like weaponizing her pregnancy and calling people out on stuff that they never even said.
Interesting. I mean, I have to say, though, this is not the first time that this has happened. I mean, someone could say the same thing for Brittany, right? Like she came from Kentucky. She met Jax and she was like, I mean, hey, there's this guy who's on reality TV. I'm going to move across the country, be his girlfriend, work at the restaurant he works at, get on the show he's on. And now she's sort of made a whole career for herself. I mean, I think maybe the difference is that Brittany was very well received and she wasn't necessarily there to stir up trouble. I think Jax did enough of that for everyone. But maybe Janet sees it as sort of her job to make herself interesting in order to, stay relevant.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. I also think Brittany has like maintained this authenticity throughout her time on the show. She's still the same girl that we met. And I love that. But boy, is she going through it. So we have Kristen Doty coming over to Jax's house. And honestly, this scene kind of gave me, I don't know, it made me feel some type of way just because it's giving Vanderpump Rules. Like this is like the last standing couple's house in the Valley, right? Between Tom and Ariana, Katie and Schwartz, Jax and Brittany. And we had Kristen coming over to Jax's, who, I mean, who would have thought after everything they went through during Vanderpump Rules that they would be here today and Kristen Doty would be at Jax Taylor's before noon telling him that he hit rock bottom. I mean, I guess I could have seen that coming. But Jax kind of replays what happened with Brittany. So we know that he found the text messages from Julian, between Julian and Brittany, and he saw red. He threw a chair, he threw a cup, he flipped a table, he bruised Brittany. But throughout this whole conversation, he continues to play the victim and tries to justify it. I mean, he is just like every time he says something about what happened, it's just another excuse. Like, I can't believe Brittany like should do that. It's all her fault, And honestly, what is the problem with Brittany texting Julian? Tell me the problem with that.
I mean, so a few things about it. If they're separated, fine. I get that they're going to go and do their thing as long as they've talked about it because they are still technically married. So if you want to go and date someone or hook up with someone, like, yeah, you should probably have that conversation that you're both free to do that. Now, he claims we said no one in the friend group, right? And so for that reason, he thinks he has like more right to be pissed. And then on Watch What Happens, I know Kristen said like Julian and Jax were not best friends. Like Julian, yes, was, a part of the group, but they weren't besties. And like Jax is kind of painting it out to be. The other thing I have to say is this. if you are a person who is famous for you have whether you're an influencer, you're a reality star, you're an actress, whatever. You have to be so careful about who you are sending videos and pics to. Like I get nerve like I am so paranoid about that stuff and I'm no one, right? So I think like if I'm a reality star, I'm not just going to do that. And I'm just like, Brittany, come on, you should know better. And I'm not shaming her. I'm not saying that it's wrong to do it. I'm just saying you have to be super careful because it could just get out there so much easier than people realize. And it's like, is it worth it? Probably not. So, anyway, okay, that's my thing about that. The other thing is Jax continues to say, I'm taking accountability, but show me a guy who wouldn't react that way in this situation. And we have Danny on here, we have Jason on here, we have Kristen on here saying, I can name two dozen guys I know who wouldn't react that way in this situation, Jax. Like he keeps trying to normalize it. And that's a pattern of his. He kind of says, like, everyone does that. Everyone would have done that. No, Jax, everyone would not have done that. That's not okay. And so he just continues to like sort of play it off in his head as, yeah, I was pissed, but I had a right to be pissed and show me someone who wouldn't act that way. And then when Kristen says, this is really affecting Brittany, he's like, but what about me? He's pulling a Brittany from Salt Lake City. Guys, what about me? Jax, you're the one who fucked up.
And he's fucked up time and time again. He is acting like this is the first time that, they have had a perfect marriage, a perfect relationship, and Brittany cheated on him with this guy and he found text messages. No, that is not how this went down, Jax. You have cheated on Brittany more times than any of us can even count. You have treated her like shit. You are separated because of that. And so just because she hooked up with somebody, Julian, who you're not even that close of friends with, does not warrant this by any means. Like, Jax has no leg to stand on here. He really thinks he does. He really thinks that he is in the right here. And gosh, that continues. But let's jump over. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just one more thing. Because even if he's never going to get better if he can't seriously understand that he's the problem.
Oh, he'll never. That's what a narcissist is. He will never admit that he is a problem. Like, he thinks so highly of himself to the point where he is going to just make excuse after excuse before he ever takes accountability. Yeah, I don't know. I have more to say after the whole, scene at the end, as well as what he tweeted yesterday, which I posted on Instagram, which I literally laughed out loud. But before we get there, let's talk about toxic couple number 2 on the Valley, which is Jesse and Michelle, who like Kristen said on Watch What Happens Live, or maybe it was, what's her name? Nia. Yeah. They're both toxic, but in completely different ways. I don't know who's more toxic, but, so Michelle comes over to Jesse's house, right? And they are co-parenting their cute little daughter, Isabella, who I feel for. I mean, her and Cruz are really going through it. Those are 2 kids that, oh gosh, I'm scared for them. And they're just how their parents are acting towards one another. But there is a lot of contention between the co-parenting and how Jesse is basically never around. He takes the kid and then leaves it with a nanny and goes off and travels. And she asked point blank, okay, so who's the nanny that Isabella is going to be staying with? And he says, doesn't matter who the nanny is. And I know that I'm not a mom. I'm a dog mom. So I feel this. But as a mom, I'm sure you have strong opinions about this.
But Kim, even as a dog mom, you have strong opinions about this.
I do.
You wouldn't just leave your dog with someone who's going to watch my dog. Don't worry about it. Okay. Jesse, are you fucking delusional? Of course you need to tell her who the nanny is. Of course Michelle needs to meet the nanny. you can't leave your daughter with just anyone, and especially not on like an overnight. Are you insane? And then saying what doesn't matter, like, okay, then he's on Watch What Happens Live saying, "Oh, I need to go to Erin's house because they moved into Erin's house and I wanted to see, what's her bedroom like? What's her bathroom situation like? Is it safe?" Like, he's just such a fucking hypocrite. I I don't know how Michelle dealt with like, he is a unique human because I think is very charming, but also very controlling, and like that mix is just so I don't know. I feel sorry for anyone who gets like wrapped up in it.
So are you, when it comes to Michelle and Jesse, I feel like they're both like at fault in their own ways. So
Yeah.
are you team Michelle?
Yes. Yes. And not to say that she's not at fault. Like, I'm sure she is, but between the two of them, I'm gonna side with Michelle.
Yeah.
Where are your loyalties?
I have no loyalties. I'm going into this with a clear head, and I have yet to make my decision, to be honest, because I don't know. According to Jesse, Michelle, it's 99% that Michelle cheated on him twice. And then it's come out that the director that she supposedly slept with was Quentin Tarantino. And like, I don't know. It definitely seems like she, married this guy, had a kid with him, got the ick, and then kind of just checked out of the relationship. So in a way, like, I feel bad for him, but I don't know the whole story, and I really need to see how it progresses this season, because both of them, like, get it together for your daughter. And I need to say this to Jax as well. Like, come on, like, as much as you may hate each other, you need to do what is best for your kid. And this is not it. Whatever you are doing is not it. The kid is going to be able to sense how you're acting towards one another. It's just not healthy.
No, it's not healthy at all. But Jesse admittedly said that he wasn't a great husband. So I'm not saying that it was okay for Michelle to cheat on him, but it's probably not surprising.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
can we talk about the phone call to Sheena? So this is we know that we're going to see Sheena and Lala and Schwartz throughout the season. They're even on the after show, which makes me think, are they going to be playing a bigger role as the season goes on? Like, is this sort of their entree into the show as more of like a full-time cast member? I don't know. But Michelle says, "Oh," they start talking about Jesse's girlfriend. And she says, "Well, are you guys exclusive?" Because she told Sheena that she is still sleeping with other people. And he kind of says, like, he's trying to call her bluff. And they're like, "All right, well, let's call Sheena right now." So they get Sheena on the phone, and Sheena says, "Yes, that's what she told me. And it's the guy from Baywatch." And I'm like, who? Which guy from Baywatch? Like, not Zac Efron, right? They can't be Zac Efron. But
Not David Hasselhoff.
not David Hasselhoff, not the Hoff. But then I was talking to you about it, and you actually have a little bit of tea.
Well, the internet has come to this conclusion that they know who the guy from Baywatch is, and I think it's a pretty good conclusion. A little before my time, I guess everybody's saying it is Jeremy Jackson. I think that's his name. He was in the original Baywatch. He played Hobie, and he lives in Newport Beach now, which, if you look at all the facts,
Right.
makes sense.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I guess also, in case you guys didn't know, Jesse's girlfriend is this woman, Lacey. She lives in Orange County. She is friends with a lot of the Orange County housewives, Gretchen and Lydia. If you go, I think her Instagram is just at Lacey OC. There's pictures with her and Gretchen and Lydia all over her feed. I did hear allegedly that she's tried out for OC a couple times. Obviously, she didn't end up on the show. So it's just very interesting that she is now with Jesse Lally, who
Right.
happens to be a new reality TV star. So, think about that.
Right. Do we have another fan in the making? Fan
Yeah.
yarn, the cast member in the making.
Yeah, so now we've got, I don't know if we're going to be seeing her on the show. I would assume yes, because Michelle's boyfriend is definitely making appearances. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but Baywatch, like, where, like,
Random.
why,
Random.
where, how, like, Sheena just coming on to the show, dropping that bombshell on the phone is just like so Sheena, so Sheena. And I do have to say, about these, other cast members. I'm going to start calling Schwartz like the floater because I feel like he's just going to literally be popping up on every Bravo show. We've seen him on the Valley. He was on Summer House last night.
Yeah.
Then we see pictures of him in New York hanging out with the Southern Hospitality and below deck people. Like, I think he's just going to be floating around every Bravo show. And honestly, like, I'm not mad about it.
I'm not mad at it. And that honestly tracks so hard for Schwartz. Like that, the floater is the definition of Tom Schwartz. It just kind of not da da da. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always have a soft spot for Schwartzy.
I mean, I do too. When he showed up on Summer House last night, I did have a smile on my face. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see, how he kind of plays into the drama, or if he's just kind of Jax's wingman this season because Jax doesn't really have anybody else. I don't know. But speaking of Jax, it's time for an intervention. Danny and Jason show up at Jax's house. And it's very strange and awkward. I really don't think they're that good of friends, but they're like walking in like they're like, okay, it's time to sit Jax down. Once again, Jax is making excuses. I'm not as it wasn't as bad as they made it out to be. And Danny's like, dude, how could it get worse than this? I mean, you did something so bad that you are not able to see your son alone. How much more bad can it get? And Jax is saying, look, I'm checking into a mental health clinic. He thinks that he is all high and mighty because of this. But number one, he doesn't even want to go in for 30 full days. Number two, he's acting like it's all about the money. Oh, 30 grand. Oh, that's a lot of money. No, you're just worried about not being, paid for being on the show because they get paid per episode. So if he's going to be in the mental health facility, he's not going to be featured on those episodes. So he's not getting paid. And it's just all fake. It's just all fake. He would not be doing this if it weren't for this show.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's this harsh reality is like, yes, I want him to do this to go and get help. But in order for someone to truly heal, they have to want to get better. And at the end of the day, I don't think Jax really wants to get better. Like, I think he is a chaos conductor. He just likes to blow up everything that he's a part of. And I think truly he doesn't realize the parts that he plays in it. And so I feel like, I don't know, he's forced into this corner and he kind of feels like he has to do it. But like, I don't think he's ready.
No, he's not. I mean, and he's like, I got to take this call. Bye. And then it was so awkward when the guy from the mental health facility calls and all he's just talking about is the logistics of entering this program. And Jax could give two shits about what's really going on. He's like, I have anger issues. I'm depressed. What do you want? What do you want from me? It's just so performative. And you can tell that there is not an authentic bone in his body that is really taking this seriously whatsoever.
Well, I think his anger is authentic.
Well, yeah, but
no, go ahead.
Well, yeah, but and we'll get to this later. It's he thinks he's stepping up and taking accountability, but at the same time, he's still lying. He continues to lie.
Yeah, the lies just come so easily to him that it's honestly scary. Like when Brittany, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, in the scene when Brittany says, I saw there was a girl at your house that left this morning. And he's like, no, there wasn't. He just instantly lies. Like that is his default, is to lie. And it's like, Jax, yes, there was. And I saw her on the camera. He just, it's so second nature to him. It's terrifying.
Speaking of lies, okay, let's talk about the thong on the sink because so we get this girl's lunch and we see Brittany reveal that when she went to go pick up some Amazon packages at the old house, she finds a white thong on the bathroom sink with a baby wipe on top of it. Now, did you watch the after show?
I did. At your recommendation, I did.
Because Jax, speaking of lies, is trying to explain away the thong. And this is what he said. If you guys aren't watching the after show, go to Peacock or YouTube and watch it because it is hilarious, first of all. Second of all, Jax says that, okay, so I guess him and Schwartz did this like Vanderpump bar crawl on this Sprinter bus. I did think about going to that for 0.2 seconds, but I'm pretty sure tickets were $400. I digress. He said a fan. First, he says a fan like threw the underwear at him on the bus, right? Okay. And then it turns into this story about how it was just passed over, given to him. He says it still has the tag on. He says it wasn't from the girl, Paige, I guess, that was there the night before. And it's just kind of, a thong from a fan because fans like give him underwear all the time.
You're not Elvis. What do you Women are just literally throwing thongs at you wherever you go. Tom was like, I didn't have any thongs throwing at me. Like, no. It was just like casually like passed to me. And then Jesse's like, okay, so your story's already changing. First it was thrown at you, now it's being passed directly to you. Like, Jax, just stop. Just stop. No one believes this.
No one believes this. He says it still has the tag on it. I'm sorry, but what fan, okay? If you, we're all fans if we're watching this show. If you know somebody who went on that bus tour and saw this happen, or please come forward. And also, are Bravo fans psychotic enough to be handing Jax Taylor a white thong with a tag on it?
No.
What would be the purpose of that?
I did not see a tag in that picture.
What would be the purpose of that? This story, I mean, is probably the funny. At least we had a little bit of a lighthearted moment in this episode because that was so funny. But we also have Michelle talking again about Lacey, Jesse's girlfriend, and how she's now suing her for like defamation or sent them a cease and desist for talking shit. So, gosh, I don't know. I feel like Michelle can't catch a break.
No, it's so messy. I'm like, I barely even could take that on because there's just so much other things happening. But yeah, apparently this Lacey is getting a little crazy with the cease and desist. And I'm like, can you, if they're not talking about it on camera, like, you can't just send someone a cease and desist to say, you can't talk about me. Like, I don't know. I'm sure the whole thing was to prevent them from talking about it on camera, but I don't know. I don't know that I care enough, to be honest with you, to like delve into that. But
no, I don't. But just one comment, like, don't date somebody in the public eye or on a reality TV show if you don't want to be talked about. It's just that simple.
100%. And so, yeah, the whole thing is just silly. And yes, added stress for Michelle. Okay, should we get to one of the darkest scenes we've ever seen on Bravo? Was when Brittany is at the house with Cruz, Jax comes home, and this is basically Jax's send-off to rehab. But I don't know, it was kind of unclear what was going on. But like, Brittany and Cruz get there, and then as soon as Jax walks in, he's like, hey buddy, how's it going? And the baby just like ran away from him, or like did not want to see his dad. Like, it was so sad, Kim. And I hate that this is documented for this little boy, because he's going to grow up and this is going to live forever. And like, he didn't ask for this. He didn't sign on for this. And so I don't know. I do have conflicting feelings over even watching it, because it feels icky almost that this little boy is having this really like emotional situation that he's going through, and it's being documented for everyone to see.
It's really, really sad to watch him like visibly recoil from Jax.
Yeah.
Like he did not want to hug. He did not want to kiss. He almost like let out like a whine when Jax even showed up. Like it's just clear that obviously, like I don't know what's been going on before, but obviously, Cruz, at the very minimum, witnessed or heard this, explosive fight that happened just the other day. Of course, he's going to be scared of his dad. Of course, he's going to not, really want to be around him. And it's so sad to see that. And Jax, meanwhile, like, he's like, I really don't want Cruz to be taken away. Well, I mean, it's your own doing, Jax.
Yeah.
Like, it's nobody's fault but his own. He's put his son and his wife in a not a good situation. And he continues, I guess the nanny takes Cruz out and chaos just ensues. They start yelling at each other. He's mad about her hooking up with Julian. And then she throws in that he had Paige in the guest room last night. And Jax
right in the guest room.
Yeah, Jax just continues to make excuse after excuse. And he says to Brittany, I will never forgive you for this. I'm sorry, what?
Right.
You'll never forgive Brittany for sending nude photos of herself to Julian? You think that is the worst thing that has happened in this relationship?
Yes. In his mind, that is the worst thing that has happened. And it was her doing that behavior. And before that, he even says, I got to go pack. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your life? Like, what the fuck, dude? You destroyed her life. And might I add, it is so fucked up that Jax stayed in the house and Brittany and Cruz had to move out. Like,
oh, beyond.
Let Brittany and Cruz stay in the home. Let Cruz have that familiarity, and you get your ass out.
Oh my God, beyond. And I think Brittany has gone through like 4 rentals in the span of like, 6 months or something. That's really got to be tough on Cruz. I don't know. He's just like yelling at her. I told you not to hook up with people in our circle. And he gets mad for her sending pictures of Cruz to Julian. Like, I don't see how that's that big of a deal. I don't know. Oh my gosh. It's really tough to watch this whole thing. And Brittany just like has it. If you don't stay in the facility for 30 full days, I am filing for full custody. I'm filing for the divorce, and I am filing for a restraining order, and you will lose your job. Like, thank you, Brittany, for finally just coming. Like, this man deserves no more, like, just
chances.
Yes, exactly. He needs what has been coming to him for a very long time.
I was listening to Danny Pellegrino, shout out Danny, on Everything Iconic, and he said, Jax has been telling us for the 12 years or however long he's been on television, I'm a work in progress. And he's like, I haven't seen any progress. Where's the progress, Jax? You've been saying it every year. Like, yeah, I fucked up, and I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress. Like, but we haven't seen anything.
Nope. We haven't seen anything. And, he thinks he's all high and mighty, like I said, going to this mental health facility. But what he really needs is rehab, because Brittany, in this moment, calls him. She says, you need to be honest with the doctor in that facility and tell them that you have an addiction, that you have a coke problem. Okay, boom, there it is.
And now she said it. And what was even crazier is that I didn't hear that. I don't know how. All I heard was, you have an addiction. You have to be honest with the doctor. I didn't hear her say you have a coke addiction. And so the fact that she put that out there, like, again, none of us are surprised. Like, we've all seen the signs. It's been obvious, but for her to actually say it is different. And that really pissed him off. And then, he kind of says, well, like, you haven't done any. And she's like, I'm not saying that, but if I am given a drug test right now, I would pass. Would you pass? And he just simply says, I'm not doing this. And it's like, well, there's your fucking answer. Like, no, he wouldn't pass.
And we all thought, Jax went on the Hot Mic podcast and revealed this addiction. And everybody's like, oh, you're so brave to come out and say this. The only reason why he did that podcast was because Brittany brought it up on camera. She had no other choice but to call him out and tell him to be honest. And that's the only reason why he did the podcast, so he could come out with it on his own terms. Now, I know, part of me thinks, okay, addiction is a serious issue. It's very personal. Maybe he should have been the one to say it, but no, I feel like Brittany is definitely the clear victim in this situation. I feel like he's hurling stuff at her right and left. She had every right to say this. And him going on that podcast was just to cover his ass, was not to, be brave and come out and tell his story. So it's just a load of bullshit once again, as well as his final words in the episode. My name is Jax Taylor, and I'm finally admitting that I need help. Like, sir.
Right. Okay.
Sit down.
So did he go and did he stay for 30 days? Because the last we see is he's driving off, or Jason's taking him. Did he stay for the 30 days? Do we know that?
I don't know. It might be known. I don't know if he stays the full 30 days. I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd guess not. But I guess we'll find out. I don't know. But what I am looking forward to is at least 3 or 4 episodes without Jax Taylor.
Yeah.
I think that will do wonders for this show to just brighten it up, give it a little bit of, positivity, because he really, really brings it down.
No, it's going to be like a dark cloud has lifted. And like Brittany said, this is actually good for me. Like, this is going to make my life so much easier if he's gone for 30 days, because the shit that she has to deal with on a daily basis from that man, I mean, I can't even imagine.
I think it's going to make all of our lives better to not have to see him for several weeks. So I don't know. I mean, we are in for a season. I really hope, it gets more positive. But I mean, let's be real. This group is really, really bringing it. I think that this is like the new Vanderpump Rules. I think that we are going to be in the valley for the long haul. I think we have a lot of seasons to come with this group. And I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening and watching.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next week to cover more of the Valley. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow Bravo Breaking News, and at Lisa Not Rinna on Instagram. And we'll see you guys then.
Thank you. Bye.